Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more awesome tech review. Let's get started. In today's digital landscape that is continuously growing technologically, strong security practices are very essential for us not to be hacked or for our security not to be compromised. And so this video explores password security and additional strategies to protect and make sure that your digital identity is not compromised on the internet. So whenever we create an app, users are supposed to create their account with their username and password. That's the fundamental element of creating users and passwords, right? Creating users for applications. And so whenever you want as a user to get in, for example, into your Facebook, as the first time they will require you to put in your personal information, your name, your username, and then your password. And the mistake that we make always is that whenever we come to the creation of the password, there is always a weak password vulnerabilities around how we create those passwords. And sometimes we use our personal information like our names or our family members' names or our date of birth, or even some people use their phone numbers. Some move it out from the personal information stuff to maybe the pop culture references by, using their favorite movies, their favorite books or songs, or their common choice of words that is all over the internet because we have very various identities out there, right? And users can use some of those or guess some of those common choice of words that we often use to gain access if that's what you're using as your password. Another thing is some people take it down to another category, which is just find a word in the dictionary and then use those words. Those are simple words that can be cracked using automated hacking techniques. And also some people use, like for example, in the keyboard of my laptop, the first letter base will be QWERT. Some people will use that. Some people will use the ASDF. Some people will use 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are various weak password vulnerabilities that we create that enables it to make it easy for hackers to be able to predict our passwords and then be able to gain entrance into our application and then operate it as if we are the people operating it. So my advice today will be to make sure that in creating your password, you follow this password foundation strategy that I'm gonna be displaying today. And at the base layer is unique. It has to be unique. You have to make sure that your different accounts or applications have different usernames and passwords. That makes it extremely difficult for any hacker to be able to penetrate that. Even if they get to this application, they may not be able to gain an entrance into another application because the password is different and the username is different. Another thing is to avoid repetitive characters, right? Like for example, if you are creating a password, you want to use something like A, B, 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 B. No, don't do that. Just avoid repetition of any character or pattern, and then make sure that you use sufficient password length. Some people, or the base standard is for you to use 8 characters, but if you use more, it makes it extremely difficult during that hashing process that hackers will hash your password to be able to predict that password using some of those, whatever those people do to gain entrance into this. If you use more than 8 characters, preferably 12 plus characters, that will make sure that your password is bulletproof. Another one is to make sure that your password has a complex character mix, and that I mean a combined. It has to have upper and lower case, then numbers and symbols. So how do we now create a strong, memorable password? For example, right, when you choose a phrase, you have to make sure that you choose the inverse of that phrase. So for example, right, if something like you want to use something like I love pizza, do not use I love pizza as your password if you love pizza and that's what you want to use. Instead, use the inverse phrase, I hate pizza. In that way, if someone is trying to hack you, their prediction, if they know that you like pizza or you love pizza, will be I love pizza. But you have used an inverse phrase for that. But then, in addition to that, replace the letters with symbols. So, for example, if there is any place that is A, instead of A, use the at symbol. Instead of I, use the exclamation mark symbol. Instead of S, use $sign symbol. Instead of O, use 0. And then make sure, in addition to these two categories, the third one will be to make sure that in addition to those two, you remove all the spaces and then combine those words as a continuous string. Then you test your password to make sure that it meets the length and the complexity requirement. So that is how you will create memorable, strong passwords. Another security strategy that you have to factor in is the multi-factor authentication, MFA. And what this does is that if someone or if you are going into your app, the MFA provides you multiple layer of protection, because even if the password is compromised, they will have to send it to either a phone or an authenticator app, or use a fingerprint or face scanner, depending on how you do it, or they will require you, or they will send a pin to your email or whatever, but they will require an additional confirmation that you are the rightful owner of this app, especially when something changes. For example, you are accessing that application from a location that bears a different IP address. Exactly. If you are making use of MFA, it will prompt them to send those codes to you, and then you will definitely know that someone is messing up with your stuff. Another thing is to use password managers as well. Password managers will help you to generate complex passwords that are always gonna be unique and strong for your accounts, and then remove you from the memorization button, because those passwords will be stored in the password manager that you are using. Another thing is also that is good for password manager is the cross-device synchronization. If you are using that a particular manager and then I have another device, I can just synchronize that application on it, and all the password will be easily accessed across the device. Another one is it encrypts the storage. So where those passwords are stored will be encrypted, and then it will also send you security alert and notify you about compromised website or reused passwords that you have. Another security strategy that you might decide to employ is to make sure that you use like biometric authentication, right? Biometric authentication like fingerprint recognition, facial recognition, or voice authentication. These are additional layers of passwords that you can use to make sure that it makes things extremely difficult for any hacker or any person trying to gain illegal access into your application or your devices not to be successful at doing that. Yeah, that's it for the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And I hope that you find this video very helpful. Thank you so much.